Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, race number 3 for the 191 MotorSports Gen 6 season, and it brings us to the kind of the home of NASCAR here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Beautiful 1.5 mile D oval. You get to see it here under the lights as well. So these cars will be shining up nice, at least at the start. Hopefully they keep their shine throughout the rest of the race, but hoping to see a good one out here tonight, as we got a pretty good sized field out here. 17 cars ready to take the green flag for their qualifying attempts, and we'll see if we get our third different winner here of the season, as last week out we seen Michael Casey take the win out in a very racy Las Vegas, as he got the win by just 1/10 of a second over Matthew Jordan. Bradley Worley for the top 3 last week, and Worley coming off of the win in the season opener, now finds himself 1 point behind Michael Casey, as Casey has 2 good races back-to-back here, just a little bit better than Worley, but 1 point separating the top 2. Casey with 76 points, Worley with 75, and then you got Timothy Ivey back there in third with 63 points. But this is a fun track to get a hold of, no matter what car you're out there, whether it's a street stocks, whether it's the NASCARs, whether it's these Gen 6 cars here tonight. Usually puts on a good show. Carl Lambert joined in the booth by Jimmy Cover. Jimmy, back here at Charlotte once again.
Yeah, back here at Charlotte, it's always a great track to come visit, especially underneath the lights. The cars always look good. The drivers take the time to paint up the cars, so we'll see those here tonight. But yeah, they're out there right now putting in some good old times, lap times up to 29.252, which is pretty dang fast here. Everybody under that in the 29 range, so it should be a good one here, Carl. There's some drafting here that works, but the big corner of the night is going to be turn number 4, coming off of that. With it, as those tires wear down, the car's going to want to push out to the wall. So the driver's going to find it difficult as their stint progresses, and to keep that thing off of there. And also, that pit lane entry is right there as well. So if you bounce off the wall, you can find yourself down to pit lane. So we'll see how these drivers fare out as practice is now over. And we'll go down and just show the running grid here tonight, where everybody's going to be starting real quick before we get talking to anybody. I'll bring it up real quick.
They're just getting into qualifying right now, so we're not going to have the grid just yet. Not for another 5 minutes yet, but yeah, I don't know what it is about these 1.5 mile tracks. I mean, even the regular tri-ovals, but especially these ovals like Charlotte, like Atlanta, like Texas. For some reason, the exit out of turn 4 is always kind of the bugaboo. It's always the place that you really got to watch the car pushing out there or getting loose, getting out towards that outside wall. I mean, you figure you would see just as much coming off of turn 2. I mean, you're coming off that banking and coming onto a little bit less banking onto the backstretch. But yeah, for some reason, it's the exit of turn 4 on these tracks that just really bites these guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know why. I mean, it's because they're coming down that back stretch, getting all full momentum. They want to get that run, get their lap going, and you can really hold it down there with these cars. I mean, they stick really well, and you just got to work the wheel just a little bit, and you can about hold it full throttle while the tires are fairly new. But once they heat up, the times will come down. The car will start getting tight, and you'll be putting too much pressure on that front right tire. So that's what the drivers need to kind of pay attention. So, it kind of gives you a false sense of like, oh, I'm really, really fast all the time. And after about 5 laps, you're going to need to slow down and work that throttle and wheel a lot more to make that rotation. So we'll see what these drivers can put together here tonight for sure. A few drivers out there getting their laps together right now. And I'm going to go help my wife in the kitchen real quick. Be right back.
Absolutely. While you're doing that, talk about the rotation, as Jimmy mentioned. One thing that actually helps you rotate around this track is the paint. The paint on the inside there. You actually kind of want to get your tires down there on the paint, on that white and blue line on the apron there. It actually is a little bit extra grip for the tires going around these corners. Certainly, me and Jimmy try to avoid the paint, as we're just coming off the majors 24-hour race at Le Mans, and you don't want to touch any kind of paint, any kind of rumble strips in the rain. It certainly will send you for a loop. But here, you kind of want to get yourself attached to it. You want to get down there and get onto that paint to give you a little bit extra grip. But we are going to talk to one of the drivers out here once he gets done with qualifying. We're waiting for for Zane to finish up with qualifying, and then we'll bring in the driver of the number 5 here. And get a chance to talk to Zane Bierman before we get this thing going. But in the meantime, I want to thank our sponsors out there, Kim's Cups and More, and brain farting here for a second. Kim's Cups and More, and One Vision EMS and Transports. We were going to talk to the man behind One Vision tonight, but unfortunately Richard not in attendance here tonight, so we'll save that for another time. Maybe we'll save it for next week and try and get him in here for a quick interview. But looks like we got the driver of the number 5 here in the waiting room, so we'll go ahead and bring him up. And Zane, we come home here to Charlotte. It's a track that certainly gets used up a lot, no matter what kind of car you're in here. I'm sure you have some kind of experience here at Charlotte. So, Zane, first of all, welcome to the booth, and kind of what's your outlook here on Charlotte tonight?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Charlotte's going to be a good one tonight. It's like you said, a classic track all the way from, rookie and D-class street stocks up to, the faster classes, and especially in league race, it's always a good place to race. I wasn't able to get a whole lot of practice laps in before this one, but we're lucky to put her out there. P9, tight pack. Everybody looks like is within, about a little over half a second in the field for the most part. So it should be a good race, and I'm looking forward to trying to keep it clean, move my way up, and see what we can do by the time 100 laps is over, 125.
So you're at least trending in the right direction after the first couple of races. A 15th in the season opener, I'm sure, wasn't exactly what you were looking for, but then you come back last week and you get yourself a top 10 and the fastest lap of the race to boot. So, maybe trending in the right direction. Did we see that 5 maybe creeping up a little bit further? Maybe have a shot to get a podium or a win here tonight?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I had a rough time at Daytona. That's a dangerous place to run, and it's easy for things to go
Anytime.
bad.
Anytime.
Yep. So I tried to pick it back up. I know I got some ground to make up on some of the guys up front, like Mike, Jason, and some of the other guys that are fast every week. So we're trying to keep it clean and keep it out of other cars, and that's how you get up front. I found out. So trying to pick up some speed.
Go ahead.
Trying to pick up the speed and try to just stay smooth. I hope that'll do it for me.
Yeah, like I was going to say, like the saying goes, to finish first, you must first finish. So
Yep.
that's really what the folks got to be. Well, you got yourself a top 10 qualifying spot here tonight. Hopefully you can get up there to the top 5, maybe the top 3. We'll get to talk to you after the race, but maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you during the race as well under cautions. Before we let you go and get into the car for tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
I just said, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go in the car?
Oh, well, I don't really have any sponsors here, but all thanks to my beautiful wife for freeing up my Sunday evening so I can be here to do it. I'll give her the credit here.
That's never a bad shout out to give. Well,
she's watching.
We'll let you get out there and get to it, and maybe we'll talk to you during the race or maybe afterwards. Either way, good luck out there.
Thanks, guys.
That is the driver of the number 5, Zane Bierman, as we now have a grid, Jimmy. So why don't you now give us that rundown for tonight's racing order?
I was excited. I wanted to get racing already. But yeah, the lineup here for tonight on the front row, on the pole here will be Jason Chrisman, along with Timothy Ivey. And then you have Kevin Winker, Michael Casey for row number 2, row number 3, Douglas Ivey, and Justin Spengler. Row number 4 is going to be Matthew Radford with Blair Souders. And then Zane Bierman in 9th there, Bradley Worley back there in 10th. 11th is Dale Garner Jr., 12th is James Jones, and then the rest of the field will be Wade Enyart there in 13th. 14th be Paul Helms. 15th Matthew Jordan. 16th Foster Yates, and Scotty will be back there in 17th. So definitely a lineup here tonight. 17 drivers, going to be a lot of fun. We'll get down to the track here as they are already on. So find that, bring us here, and we'll get going.
It's kind of funny with Scotty starting 17th. I guess Scotty doesn't know how to put a last name in. He is back there at 17th, and that's on the SDK side. So we'll see if that's what he just wants to be referred to as, or if we need to get that cleaned up. But either way, we got 17 cars out here getting ready to take the green flag here tonight. 125 laps under the lights here at Charlotte. Some good looking paints out there as well. I mean, it's one thing that I really try and showcase, because these drivers put a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money into these paints, and they really want them to show and dazzle, and of course they like that camera time as well. So we'll see how they do out here tonight. Pace truck is off. We are ready to go. It's in the hands of Barney up there in the flag stand, and we are racing at Charlotte.
Away we go on the green field down into turn number 1. It's going to be Timothy Ivy with a small lead over Jason, but they're going to swap back and forth there as they head down through 1 and 2. Still too wide going through the first set of corners, heading down towards the backstretch. Oh, somebody's getting wide.
Big bobble back there. I believe that was a 28 of Justin Spengler, maybe getting a little loose coming off the corner, trying to run that high line. And not sure if he came down and caught somebody else on the backstretch. We'll have to take a look back there and see what happened. But that was a big moment coming off the backstretch. Seemed 3 wide there with the 08 of Blair Saunders, and certainly get a big old piece of that 08 Castrol car. And then the 88 there, just a little bit of a tap, never really know where to go. And then a bigger impact there into the 08. Looks like the 54 catching a little piece as well, and you see the car just diving all around. And man, this ended up, it looked like it could have been a 1 or 2 car incident, ended up being a bit of a big one here on the backstretch on lap number 1.
Yeah, tough break there for the first lap. Obviously trying to get them tires up to temperature, and things can happen, but 3 wide early on usually this spells disaster, as it did here on lap number 1. So we're going to get things back up. We're going to get those drivers back down the pits. They do have, I believe they have 2 fast repairs, so they'll be able to come down and get those corrected. I think it's 2. Check info. Yep, fast repair 2 right over here, incidents. So yeah, definitely have the ability to get out there and get things going. We'll go back live here. I'm sure some of the most of the drivers will stay out. Come on. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, a few takers to pit lane. A lot of guys just coming in there, probably getting some damage repaired. Some of them may be able to get away with just getting that cleaned up via the regular pit cycle and not using one of those 2 fast repairs. Some of them definitely going to have to use one of those 2, and you hate to do that, especially on lap number 1. You hate to come in there and use one of those 2 fast repairs. It's nice that you have 2, but you kind of feel a little bit hamstrung the rest of the race, because you know you only got 1 more to go for over 120 laps yet. So we'll see how everything plays out here, but certainly some cars that needing some work done already as we're back rolling here. Looks like 16 cars back out there. Justin Spengler still in pit lane. But I want to thank all of our viewers out there as well. And I know you guys are out there rooting on your favorite drivers. I see a few out there rooting on Casey. We got one out there for Matty Jordan, and another one out there for the 64 for Paul Helms. So hopefully your drivers do well out there, but I want to thank you for tuning in here to CRN. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer, as we got plenty of racing. It's kind of, if you want to consider it, our off season right now. Some of the leagues that we cover are in their off season, but it's going to be ramping up here pretty soon. And we got the 191 Motorsports here on Sunday nights. On Monday nights, we have the Hold Your Brakes Academy. And then Wednesday night, we'll have the return of CSRL, the GT3 series, as they are starting season number 13. And then towards the beginning of next month, we'll have the return of the Core Xfinity and the Core GT series as well on Tuesday and Thursday, respectively, as well as the return from the summer break from the Virtual Velocity Racing ARCA series on Thursday nights. But we are ready to get this thing back under green. Jason Chrisman on the front row this time is going to be the control car, with the 42 of Kevin Winker on the outside. Timothy Ivy, Michael Casey, and Douglas Ivy are going to round out your top 5.
Yeah, it's gonna see if we can get these drivers under green here for a little bit, get some heat in them tires, and we'll be able to see these guys really perform and who can manage those tires, and then hopefully they can get out there long enough, get themselves a green flag pit stop, because that's always interesting, and hopefully the people that have decided to practice that pit entry can really put it down here and maybe gain themselves a position or two, or keep the lead if they have it. So. But right now, it's Jason Chrisman on the inside with Kevin Winker on the outside. Timothy Ivy, Michael Casey, and Douglas Ivy for your top 5.
Pace truck is in. It's in that control here from the 98. And we are back to racing here at Charlotte. As kind of weird, we got the green flag call, but it was a little bit delayed. I'm not sure. Are we live there, Jimmy, with the...
Yeah.
But the thing is, I heard the green flag, and all of a sudden they're still pacing around. They're wondering what was going on. But either way, in the turn number 1, the 98 O'Chrisman leads Winker as they are hopefully going to file out here a little bit better this time down the backstretch. 42 Winker looks to the inside here and is going to take the lead in turn 3.
Yeah, and you're going to see some of those drivers, the 85, getting a little loose on that one. Back there with Douglas Ivy and the Oreo machine. Catching that coming out of turn number 4, getting a little loose, but able to keep it going straight. So just lost a little bit of time there, back there in P number 7. He started in 5th, so down 2 spots right now. A couple of drivers moving around a little bit because of the incident. You got Matthew Jordan and Foster Yates up 6 spots. Got some mixing around up here as the drivers are going side by side down to turn number 4. It's a brave move to go too wide through that corner, as it can be pretty tricky. It look almost 3 wide, but you see 98 getting trapped just a little there by the 15, as the 15 has the high line. So, but the 42, Kevin Winker, is out front currently with Michael Casey in P number 2.
Yeah, Casey moves into second place, so you see the 98 trying to look for a way to get back around there, but luckily his internet connection cleared up there, blinking out a little bit on the last lap. And now Casey, bold move down to the inside of the 42, going to take over the lead. The 15 of Ivy looking to follow suit as well, as it'll be side by side with Winker at the line. Some good battling up here at the front as these drivers not wasting any time. And it's one thing that we've said before, we've seen before. Sometimes you get that early caution, especially on lap number 1. The drivers get a little antsy. They start worrying about, is this going to be a caution-filled race? Is cautions going to start breeding cautions? And you start getting a little bit more aggressive to try and make those passes quicker and earlier, and that eventually will lead into more cautions. So luckily these drivers getting a little bit of a run here going, as Casey's going to lead the way. Winker, Ivy, Chrisman, and Radford for your top 5. Bierman up into 6th place. Ivy, Saunders, and James and Jordan rounding out your top 10.
And the laps will start clicking off pretty quickly here as they are under green. You see we're already on lap number 9, so even with the caution, things go by pretty quick. They're only about 30-second laps, so be out here for about an hour or so, as long as the cautions stay on the lower side. So we'll see how these drivers handle that. And does look like you're getting a small breakaway. The leaders are coming up on a pace or a lap car there. Yeah, number 79 of Foster Yates.
It's out of the pits. Unfortunately, he is down a lap here already, and about to be down 2 laps here. Spengler, the only other one lap down right now. We'll see if Yates maybe has some newer tires that can fend off these leaders for a little bit, but they're coming with a head of steam here, as to the outside goes Michael Casey to move his way around. For the most part, everyone has single filed out here a little bit. As Jimmy mentioned, we got a bit of a breakaway here from the top 7 back to you see the 08 back there of Saunders trying to do what he can to drag that second group along, but getting really close right there as Foster Yates slides up a little bit in the corner. Almost 3 wide here once again as they're trying to work around this lap car.
Yeah, and it's, one thing, this, 79 just kind of got collected in that incident there in the beginning, and probably elected maybe to save the faster pair. Oh, a little bit of wiggle in the front. What a catch.
Yeah, still trying to save it right Casey. There. As Casey is going to save it, and the 15 now of Timothy Ivy going to go to the front, but Casey is looking for a little bit of a rebuttal here on the front stretch, side by side now with Winker battling out for second. He's the 98 there of Grisman, trying to get back up in the mix as well. Back a little further in the pack here, the 88 of Worley going to work on the 23 of Matthew Jordan at the top of the track as they're side by side, and plenty of racing going on here. Even though there's only 17 cars out there, there's battles just about everywhere.
Yeah, it's a pretty good group of drivers. As far as being in the same skill level of driving and how to operate these cars, and that's what gives you those good battles all over the field. Nobody's getting really left behind unless obviously you're tied up in an incident or something like that. Might make you a little bit slower for a while, but definitely it makes for some great racing and pockets of it as well. And always the middle of the pack. I always commend those guys. I always tell myself it's the hardest because you get so many people in there, whether it's people in that skill level, maybe it's a slower driver that this is their favorite track, so they usually find themselves there, or maybe it's one of the leaders that have fallen in the back and had some troubles early on, and now they're fighting with these drivers as well. So a very tough part of the field to be in and work your way through. But the driver's doing a very good job at the moment. After those, get a little bit of heat in the tires. I'm sure they're starting to feel it now. They're about 16 laps in, Carl, and that's usually when the tires really start kind of heating up and it starts getting a little pushy. And just as I said that, I hear some sliding.
We got some more back there as well, as it looks like Bierman got taken out after the yellow came out there as well. Not sure what the initial yellow was the issue there. I didn't see what happened. I think it was back towards the back of the pack, but I did see as they went into turn one, Foster Yates getting into Bierman, unless I was a little bit off when it comes to the timing of the video here. But yeah, right there you see Yates coming down and into Bierman. So I don't think this is a good time to bring in Bierman and ask him what he thinks is going on with the race so far, because involved in this one, probably not a good time to talk to the man. But unfortunately, it's going to bring us under our second caution.
Yeah, Zane Bierman, James Jones getting involved as well. I think this is everybody kind of checking up.
Maybe not checking up at all. As a 54, clear big contact there into the 5. The 21 trying to get up through there as well. He's going to shoot up across the 28. So again, what could have been just a 1 or 2 car incident here ends up being a lot more involved as some others come in here late into the incident.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult track when obviously you see that flag come out. Obviously, lifting is probably your best bet here, and it does look like Iracing. Not iRacing and SDK. There's an update to SDK. So typically when I just hit fast forward or live, it takes me back to live. But here we go, back to the field here. But it does look like we're gonna have some takers to the pits here, Carl. As we have a few laps in right now, but a few staying out, maybe trying to gain some positions. I'll go ahead and pit stop. So
that's what actually kind of surprises me is not necessarily guys coming in. I would expect, even though we're only 17 laps into this race, it doesn't surprise me that we see some takers into the pits to grab some fresh tires, because you said around 15 or so laps on a green flag run, these tires will start to feel it here a little bit. So did see majority of the field come in, but we did see 3 drivers end up staying out. As Paul Helms pit on lap number 2, he stayed out. He's going to be in 3rd, but then Matthew Radford and Matthew Jordan, the 2 Matthews, deciding that they're going to stay out here and have not yet pit. So the 97-23 going to shuffle their way up to the top 2 spots here, and we're going to restart. It looks like the 5 is going to be able to get a wave around here and get himself back onto the lead lap. As we're down to, or actually, the 5. Yeah, the 5 is getting a wave around and trying to see. Looks like a couple of cars are getting a wave around here to get them back onto the lead lap, and we'll get this thing shuffled out and double up here, and we'll get going back to green as we got some more going through there, getting their laps back, and a little dodgy sometimes doing that. But get the green flag here. Should be getting it this time by start lap number 20.
Yeah, we'll get this thing going back here on lap number 20 as Matthew Radford will be out front. It's going to be a close one. I'm going to step away another quick second as a busy household here tonight for some reason. So I'll be right back as they get underway.
Absolutely. Still got 17 cars running. It looks like the 21 of Wade Enyart is still in the pits, maybe getting some extra repairs done to the 21. But we will see the rest of the 16 cars double it up here. And it is again going to be Matthew Radford in that 97 Ally machine. That is going to be your control car. Started back there in 7th, and he is now at the front after staying out and not pitting this time by. Matthew Jordan started back there in 15th, and he's now in 2nd after also not staying out, but he's going to have some hungry cars not too far right behind him, as that 42 is the first one out there with fresh tires. And we're going to take the green flag here once again. The 97 leads him into the restart zone, and we are racing again at Charlotte. Good restart from Radford at the front as he leads him down into turn number 1. The 23 there of Jordan up on that high side, trying to get that thing wound up. The 64 of Helms on the inside. The 42 of Winker on the outside. Winker looking for a way to get around. And big moment there for the 42, and somehow he saves it, hit the wall a couple times, but keeps that thing going straight. As the W number 42 looked like it was going to be the cause of caution number 3 and maybe another big one, but works his way out of it. And I'm sure those tires are going to be nice and warm already. You don't even have to worry about warming them up anymore. They're probably a little bit angry though.
Yeah, it's a difficult task there. You see all that movement around, and the driver is able to keep good heads up, give them maybe lift just a little bit, and allow that car to gain control. There was one thing about these cars, Carl, back when they were in the official series, is they were always really good about being able to, collect themselves after maybe getting loose just a little bit. Unlike some of the like the next gen cars, I know they're a little bit, once they get squirrely, they're very, very hard to capture back and get them going again.
Yeah, there's some that are that you can, just throttle out of it. There's some that you can, steer with the spin and get out of it pretty quickly. And there's some that as soon as you just have a little inkling of getting loose, you let Jesus take the wheel, because you ain't gonna save it. But these cars, yeah, definitely an option of saving it, man. These drivers getting at it 3 wide going through turns 1 and 2 again. The 97 brushing the wall a little bit, maybe the 15 helping them, and now they do get together as just a little bit too close to racing here early on here. Not even 100 laps or more than 100 laps to go yet, and we have another caution here as a 15 and 97 here get together, Ivy and Radford. We'll see who else was involved in that one. And the 88 just sneaking by right there. It looks like the 85 getting involved again. So Douglas Ivy and Timothy Ivy both involved in this one. The 42 taken to the apron to get around. And not sure if anybody came in at the end on the 97.
A lot of people went down low, missed this one here, but I think the 97 there, Radford, as he got spun around there. 54C going high, obviously looking at the car facing the other way, not what you want to see as you're coming around the corner, but they're able to slow it up, and only 3 cars involved in this one, as it'll be under the 3rd caution of the evening.
Once again, I want to thank our sponsors here for the series, that being Kim's Cups and More and One Vision EMS and Transports. This has been a bit of a rough start for these boys here, as they enjoyed a week off, and maybe they're just a little bit antsy to get back going racing after being off last week. And indeed they should be practicing the 5Ds dodgeball out here, because it's been a little bit of a dodging cars out here so far. But we'll see what they do here. Still plenty of racing yet to go. 101 laps left in the books here, but giving a chance to for some of these drivers that were, a lap down or 2 laps down early, and getting some laps back here via the wave rounds or the lucky dog here. So we're back to 15 cars on the lead lap, but there's a lot of drivers that I'm sure have used at least one of those faster pairs up already, maybe even 2.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate as there's lots of racing still left, and I think one thing with Charlotte, and maybe we didn't touch bases on that. This is one of the tracks that's it's one of the starter tracks, so a lot of drivers have a lot of time on Charlotte. Whether it's one of the free cars, whether it's a rookie series or maybe an unranked series, where a lot of drivers practice, and you get that false sense, that everything can go really good, or you just have a little more confidence going into this track because maybe you had a really good race or two. So pushing these cars 3 wide early on, obviously these drivers are wanting to make position, and that's why we're seeing some heavy racing. But you got to think about it sometimes. You gotta make a few laps to be able to end this thing. So as these faster pairs go away, I think the drivers' decisions on going 3 wide and pushing their car a little bit harder than they normally will tend to walk away.
I mean, we said it already that the old phrase "cautions breed cautions," but you mentioned it. A lot of times you go to tracks where you think it's going to be for lack of better terms, a shit show. You go to a track like, say, a Richmond or something like that, where it's a little bit tighter quarters, and you figure, okay, this is a track that's probably going to be a bunch of cautions. It ends up being a lot cleaner. You go to a track like Charlotte, okay, well, everybody knows this track; it should be a lot cleaner. But that's where the other saying that I like to say is confidence breeds cautions, and unfortunately, these drivers are, maybe a little overconfident in their abilities to drive at Charlotte here, and they try and go for moves that they think will stick, and unfortunately they don't. And we've seen a couple of cars up into the wall in the backstretch, and it seems like the backstretch is where we've seen a few of these incidents start up here, and just getting a little bit too racy. That one, 3 wide racing, as it didn't work out too well for the 15 and 97 for sure, and even the 85. But we're going to get this thing back on our way. Looks like we're going to get one more caution lap here before we get going. But at front, it is once again going to be the 98 of Jason Chrisman, Blair Saunders in second, Michael Casey, Bradley Worley, Zane Bierman for your top 5. Then you got Scotty, Dale Garner, Justin Spengler, James Jones, and Kevin Winker for your top 10.
Does look like one more lap. Lights are off on the pace track. We're gonna ride on board with Matthew Jordan here as he's back there in P number 12. So Jordan's a little bit farther back in the pack. We're gonna get a good view of all the drivers as we ride on top of the 23 car and see how things happen and unfold for a start here, or restart here at Charlotte.
Hopefully we can get some green flag laps in here and get to some green flag pit stops, because that's where it can certainly separate the field and get really interesting, and that sometimes can bring out some cautions as well, because it's a big transition going from that banking all the way down onto the apron to get into pit lane. So we'll see how these drivers can handle it if we get a chance to under green. But Jason Chrisman is going to lead them back to the green flag, as he is going to be the control car here. Once again, your pole sitter here for tonight, looking for his first win on the season to try and join the likes of our winner from last week, Mike Casey. As we are. Yep, looks like we are going to get this thing back underway here. Just taking a look one more time, and I thought I heard another caution called out, but we are ready to go and get this thing under green, and we are racing here once again at Charlotte.
When they go there, a pretty decent start from the whole field. There is be a little slower start there from Matthew Jordan, but still up on that high side, so going to be a little more cautious, making sure he can get that car rotated out of that high side from turn number 2 down the back stretch, and he should get a good run, but you're going to see people maybe cut him off a little bit, fall into play, and start running that top line. I know that's one of the lines here. Carl is running a little bit higher line through 3 and 4. It does seem to tend to used to seem to save some tires, but maybe Jordan giving them a little bit of room as he falls back to Pete number 15. as he looks ahead at the field here as they get going here. But we'll go back up front there. 79 making his way by as well. So maybe down power from the number 23, but we'll keep an eye on him as the field makes it around. We got a little breakaway for the top 4 there, but then it's too wide there with the 88 and the 31.
Yeah, Dale Garner trying to work his way up here into the top 5, but the 88, Bradley Worley, now moves into that 5th spot. The 72 there of Scotty trying to make a name for himself. Trying to get up into the top 5. But right now, Jason Chrisman leads the way here. It's a tight pack here at the front, and even got some battling here for 4th place now as the 88s and 08 going to work on each other here, as Worley trying to put some of those fresher tires to work. And we'll use that middle line to high line right there. It's usually a kind of a 2-groove track. Like Jimmy said, you can see that 3rd line developing here and there, and especially when the drivers decide to go 3 wide. But usually it's kind of these 2 lines right here. And it's, to me, I've seen both lines work. I've seen both lines be very fast for the entire length of a race, entire length of a run. To me, it's just driver preference, and where do you feel like you're getting the most speed out of the car? Where are you most comfortable? Where do you feel like you're not just destroying the tires? Is it the middle line, or is it the that line all the way down at the bottom? As you see him kind of shifting around here, and now is kind of the time early on in the race still to try and find that out, because as I said many times, practicing is great. You need to put plenty of practice laps in to understand how your car's going to handle. But once you get into packs like this, you start feeling that air moving around from the cars in front of you and around you. The car's going to drive a lot differently than what you've been expecting in just running practices by yourself. So now's the time to kind of search around and feel where your car seems to drive the best.
Yeah, and it can be, whether it's that low side or the high side, but definitely right now they're using both. Even a little bit 3 wide, it was just the back, but it was successful, and it's clean, but it does look like somebody is falling back right now. It does look like Scotty falling back through the pack here, maybe a little uncomfortable with the heavy racing early on there, but you see that big wiggle up there near, I think that was near Bradley Worley.
Yeah, I think it was a 98 getting a little bit loose right there, battling with the 42, as certainly close at the front. And you see right there the 42 of Winker in front of Chrisman for 2nd place. But out front, it is Michael Casey looking to go back-to-back here after winning out there in Vegas. Another 1.5-mile track, but certainly a lot different than Charlotte, that being just a tri-oval instead of the quad-oval here at Charlotte. But it's also, it seems like it's almost kind of a super speedway for a 1.5 miles out there in Vegas, as you can just kind of let the cars rip. Pretty much the same here at Charlotte. I mean, you're definitely on the throttle more than you're not, but it seems like it's a little tighter quarters when you're getting here to Charlotte. Even though you can go 3 wide, it's just, even sometimes 2 wide seems like it's really, really tight out here. But I don't tell it to these guys, because they've been at least 2 wide for most of this race so far, and we've already seen 3 wide.
Yeah, it's a possible 3 wide track at least. Some tracks, that's not even an option. So they're trying it. Obviously, some newer drivers to iRacing, but trying to make things work here with 3 wide, and it's not an easy task. So it's you don't get any better if you don't do it, or you just feel uncomfortable all the times. But when you're driving these cars, a lot of times it's about feeling uncomfortable and how you can manage that. Whether it's door to door with somebody, or up against the wall, or getting a little loose and whatnot. So we'll see. Obviously we're seeing these drivers work their magic here, as the 88 getting a little loose here, falling back, now decides to stay high, as he's going to lose a few positions here. Falling back there to P number 9, still in the top 10, still gotten in touch with that top group. So just I think when you're when the car starts getting loose on you, sometimes it's best to just kind of regroup and take the next corner.
Yeah, and if you don't decide to do it, your tires will let you know that you got to do it. You get those tires a little bit hot, a little bit angry, they're going to let you know, like, listen, you're going to have to back off, or we're going to make the back end, the front end very quickly here as we get a battle for the lead. Winker to the outside is going to make the pass, and Casey slams the door there on Bierman, heading into turn number 3, trying to do a little defending here. They're side by side now behind him. Bierman on the outside and Radford on the inside, as certainly, again, plenty racy here, and still plenty early here in this race as we just start lap number 39 here at Charlotte. Winker, Casey, Radford, Bierman, and Timothy Ivy, well, and Douglas Ivy, as both Ivies are doing a little battle here. Timothy Ivy now sliding back here a little bit. Another car in the wall is, man, it's maybe I jinx these guys by talking about how, I can't believe that coming out of turn 2 and on the backstretch there's not more incidents. Well, we've had it here tonight. We've seen plenty of cars in that backstretch wall.
Yeah, I mean, they're just coming out of 2 and just pushing the car as hard as possible. Like I said, you can go through 1 and 2 like full throttle. Obviously you get the right angle, maybe if you're not side by side with somebody. But as soon as you have to, adjust yourself, and that's why you're seeing a lot of bobbling from these cars, or they're pushing the car really hard and maybe letting up, and that car automatically will start snapping down on you. So you gotta really pay attention to how that weight transfers, and they kind of keep it underneath you so you don't lose control. But so far so good. We're on lap number 42 of 125. Kevin Winker out front over Michael Casey, Matthew Radford, Zane Bierman, and Jason Crispin for your top 5.
So I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in here tonight. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, as we got plenty of racing action throughout the week. But we got a good one now starting to brew here a little bit, as it looks like the 85 there up into the wall there just a little bit, but it comes down off the wall. So Douglas Ivy going to keep it in front of Timothy Ivy for the moment, and they got the 08 of Blair Saunders right there as well. But it seems like we've had plenty of leaders here already tonight. We've seen plenty of Kevin Winker at the front. We've seen Michael Casey at the front, and even Jason Crispin, our pollster, out there for a while. It seems like they've kind of been the 3 out front, but really we've seen probably half the field up there having a chance at the lead and at the win. That's really what you like to see in a league and in a series. You like to see parity. You like to see different winners each week. You hate to come out there week in and week out and see the same 1 or 2 drivers just out there dominating over and over and over again. It is good on them for doing so, but the rest of the series, if they're not still kind of getting their feet wet and learning how to get faster, it could turn them off here real quick. So it's good to see a lot of parity here for 191.
Yeah, it's one thing. Obviously you get out there and you want to race and you want to have fun, but if you're out there and you're getting your butt whooped every single week by the same person, it kind of gets old. So it's either you have to figure it out and figure out how to get faster, figure out what you're doing wrong, figure out what can make you better. And a lot of times it takes a while for that type of thing to kind of show or work its way through. But when you're racing with the same people, sometimes you just don't see like the instant improvements. So after a season or two, hey, I've finished like top 5, top 10. I can't get any wins, but that's where I'm at. I'm still trying. I think I'm getting better, but I don't know. But then all of a sudden you take, your racing skills and then you take it to the official racing side of the iRacing, and then you realize now you're in the top 3. Maybe you're winning 1 and 2. So, within your iRating, and it really does help. It just, it's hard when you're racing with the exact same people every single week. You don't see much improvement when you have a lot of parity like you were talking about here, different people up front. That's going to give them the opportunity to win. So it's when you get these great battles going on. But somebody that's still learning, they might not see that instant, improvement, but it is there. And you can tell. And I've, just from myself, and when I used to run a lot of ovals with the core, and it'd still be finishing in the same spot, trying to get a little better, and you think you're doing better, but you don't know because you're getting the same results. Then you run an official, and then you see how much better that you're actually doing. So it does take time. The more laps that you can get in a car on a track, on even just a specific track, I know a lot of times me and Carl, we like to run a lot of road racing, but you know, we might change cars, but the more familiar you are with the track, the better and easier it gets. So, but right now they're doing good. Right now at 49 laps of 125 with Kevin Winker out front to lead the way.
But yeah, it comes back to there's some drivers just need to curb their expectations, and they need to get rid of the instant gratification factor that I come in here, I want to have a chance to win right away. There's some leagues, if you come in there as the big fish in a little pond, sure, yeah, you can have a chance to win and go out there and win every week, but you're not going to learn anything by doing that. You need to try and better yourself by getting in those tougher leagues, those leagues that when you get in there, maybe you're only good enough to scrape away a top 10 here and there, and then eventually you'll figure out a way to get better by watching those faster drivers. You're not going to get any faster by looking in the mirror and watching you drive away from everybody else. If anything, you can develop some bad habits by doing that. So you get into to a league where you have 1, 2, 5 different fast drivers out there, and you kind of go to work. You study them a little bit, whether it's in the race, riding behind them for a little bit, or maybe even after the race, watching the race back and watching the replay and figuring out, okay, they were taking this corner a little bit differently than me, and maybe that's where they were gaining all that time. But again, you're never going to get any better by racing against inferior competition. Kevin Winker leads the way here as we cross over lap 50 and start getting a little bit deeper into this race.
Yeah, a little bit deeper. The as I so call it, the dots on the track map, or I like to call them Skittles because they're all different colors. But yeah, they're starting to spread out just a little bit. So getting a couple groups here and there. Got some good battles going on. But just looking at times, Carl, they're right around at 31.3. Obviously, their best times being in 29. So they're down about 2 seconds now in lap time. So new tires will definitely pay big dividends here, depending on when they need them or plan on getting them. You're going to see a huge increase. But looking from the times from the drivers in the front to the drivers in the back, they're really not that far off. I mean, they're really close. They're just in different parts of the track, to be honest.
Which is kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, you look at the guys at the front, and you even have guys towards the back that are running faster times. That last time by, Kevin Winker with a 31.36, and then you look back at Matthew Jordan, he ran a 31.33, so he was actually a little bit faster than your leader, but it's so spread out right now because it's just the consistency of running those decent laps over and over and over again that's spread this field out quite a bit at this point. I mean, they're covering about half of the track at this point, and pretty much all single filed out. A couple battles here and there. Their closest battles up here at the front between Kevin Winker and Michael Casey and Matthew Radford, all under about half a second from each other here at the front, and then the battle back a little bit further in the back with Paul Helms at the back half of the top 10 with Matthew Jordan and Dale Garner. But I mean, for the most part, everybody is single file, and maybe finally starting to get in a little bit of a groove here, and could see some green flag pit stops here coming up in just a short while. But we still got plenty of racing yet to go. Again, only here on lap number 54 of 125, so still not at the halfway point. Still going to have at least a couple pit stops here as well. So see how this thing plays out and see what kind of strategies these drivers go for, because I've seen plenty of drivers already come down, take tires, but now everything's kind of leveled out here. The freshest tires out there being your leader, Kevin Winker, Matthew Radford, both pitting on lap number 24, getting fresh tires, as well did the 15 of Timothy Ivey. But we haven't seen any kind of long runs play out yet to see who's better at saving those tires for the long run.
And that's, some drivers tend to do a little better on the longer runs than short runs. You got some people that can really put in those short laps, those short sprints, them 10, 15, 20 laps, and do pretty good. But, you start giving them, 40, 50 laps that they need to be out there, and their tires are all tore to heck, and maybe they've used too much fuel, so they got to come in early. There's all kinds of things that you can do in a short amount of time. But 88 getting a little loose there, going low, heading down into turn number 3 right there in front of the 28 of Justin Spengler. So as we're riding on top here, just gotta give everybody a little bit of camera time, see how everybody's doing, and whatnot. But yeah, Kevin Winkler out front, he's defending here. As you see, he's got clear roads up in front of him. But we'll look back and you see got a mirror full of Michael Casey and Matthew Radford as they try to chase them down, at least keep them in check, as there's plenty of racing here at Charlotte.
Yeah, and it's kind of a you wonder who is actually better at this point, because you're looking back from Kevin Winkler right now. He's got a clear windshield in front of him, so he's getting all that clean air and being able to drive wherever he wants and not have to worry about any kind of dirty air from any cars in front of him, which Michael Casey and Matthew Radford will have to do, as Radford now takes over second place. But they're also getting a chance to draft and save a little bit of fuel as well, maybe go a little bit further into the run. So kind of both little groups, little tandems are benefiting here. But now this is not a benefit here for anyone but Kevin Winkler, as long as these guys are side by side battling, Winkler's going to be able to drive away here a little bit. Casey's still battling hard on the outside, trying to keep Radford behind him, as they'll still be side by side into turn number 3.
Man, this is all what Kevin wants to see. Hey, you two battle it out, maybe get tied up, wreck, and I don't have to worry about you later on. But the 6 of Michael Casey able to use that outside to keep P number 2 from the number 97 of Matthew Radford. So good move there. But now, those two drivers, even if Radford were to catch the back, he slaps the wall. Not what you
these
want
cars
to see.
seem like they're a little bit dancey, even going in a straight line. And we've seen that from cars before. That sometimes it can be a little bit tough, just depending on how you have your steering bias, and trying to hold that thing straight. Sometimes the back end wants to kind of shoot to the left and shoot you towards the wall. So it's weird how some of these cars handle it. It seems like that's what the case is right now for these Gen 6 cars here tonight. Little battle back here in the back half of the top 5. Jason Chrisman trying to work around Zane Bierman here as they're battling now into turn number 3. But you've seen at the front, it just takes a couple laps. I mean, they only battle for maybe a lap and a half between Casey and Radford for Winkler to just pull a pretty sizable gap, 0.7 of a second now in between him and Casey. And now after that little bobble from the 97, looks like Casey is able to check out here a little bit as well. So we'll see if Casey has the gumption to run down the 42 and get back into this battle. And meanwhile, there in 4th place, Jason Chrisman trying to just stay within touch here, trying to keep these drivers in check at the front. Good looking kind of a throwback paint scheme there with the Interstate batteries, the all battery center there. Pretty good looking paint scheme though. I like the change with the the brownish color on the front of that thing. And again, it's something I always try and take a look at and admire the craftsmanship that goes into these drivers' paint schemes. But it's been a pretty good run here ever since the last caution around lap number 24. Knock on wood, as we've gone about 40 laps under green now, and we are past the halfway point as well. So we'll see when these drivers decide to come in and get some fuel, maybe get some tires, because clearly the times are down on what they could be running. They're down about 2 seconds on their optimal times right now. So, a short pit here, if you know you're going to have to pit 2 more times in this race, a short pit maybe not be the worst idea, but you never know. We haven't had a green flag pit stop yet, so if you take that short pit, you're going to come out and you're going to be faster. But if during that caution period or the pit cycle, a caution comes out, you could be stuck a lap, maybe 2 laps down.
And that's not what they want, obviously. So that's why a lot of drivers stay out, and they probably got to. Like I said, I don't know how much fuel they have, but they're obviously over the halfway mark right now. So, they might be able to stay out the rest of the way. If they, maybe 5, maybe 10 laps. I'd say we're going to see somebody come down, try something different. Winkler out front. He was in on lap 24, as you can see. Radford was out on 24 as well, along with Jordan, Helms, and Ivy. So a few drivers came in on lap number 24, and obviously seeing some of those go forward there. You see Jordan, the 23, making their way around the number 28 of Spengler. So trying to move forward. It just really depends on how heavy those drivers were on them tires. And you see the 28 getting a nice draft there, a little bump draft there for the 23 as they go through turns number 3 and 4. So you just got to be careful so he doesn't get too much speed as he ends up in the wall. Got a lot of fans out there for the number 64, Paul Helms. And I've seen somebody mention the transform and get ahead of there. But definitely a good throwback to some old classic cartoons. So, up front, though, Mike Casey trying to track down Winkler. I want a Winkler. I knew a Winkler. That's why I keep wanting to say it. It's Winker.
It's not Fonzie out there leading this race. It is Kevin Winker out there as Casey in second. We do see our first taker to pits, and that is Blair Saunders and the 08. And kind of been keeping an eye on that because these drivers have been going for quite some time now, and a lot of the drivers pit on lap number 16 or 17. It's been about 50 laps on fuel here. Since then, we did have one caution period since lap 17, but I mean, you figure it's a good chance that maybe they will be able to stretch this thing out with just one more pit stop. If you don't see a massive exodus in the next lap or two, certainly the drivers that came out of lap number 24, like Winker, like Radford, and Jordan and Helms, they're in a good spot, as well as Timothy Ivey pitting on lap number 24. They should be good to go on one more stop as it stands right now, and should be seeing the round of pit stops coming up here pretty soon. Now the question is, do those drivers that pit on lap number 24, do they go for any kind of different strategy? Do you take two tires? Are you maybe only using up your right sides here? Well, all I know is one thing is, the 6 is using up everything he can to catch back up to Winker, and that he did. I mean, he was back there close to about a second behind when he was battling with Radford, and he's got it back down to a tenth of a second right behind that 42 once again.
And that could be just Winker just knowing that, if I stretch it out a few laps, I don't have to save fuel. I can come in and take tires and just get back out here and get at it. And, right now, Casey, since he was in on lap 17, obviously the tires are a little bit older. There was a caution, so there's not too much going on. But, he'll have less fuel, so he has to take more fuel. So that's more fuel, longer pit stop. So that will all transcribe if they come into the pits around the same time. You'd see the 42 kind of pull away. So a lot of drivers like to do, they try to get that undercut, come out there with the new tires. I did see, I think it was the 08 of Blair Sanders there. So we'll go back and just see what he's doing. His last lap was a 30.08, nearly 2 seconds faster than everybody else on the track. So that's how much faster new tires are.
Well, the bad thing is, though, we're going to have a caution here and the next couple laps here between lap 70 and 75, and there it is on cue. There is the competition caution that we are going to have here, and
Saunders forgot about
for Saunders, that is certainly not going to help. He's going to be able to possibly get at least a wave around to get back onto the lead lap, but all these drivers that were at the front, and especially the ones that pit on lap number 17, I'm sure they are absolutely loving this right here because it gets them right back on the same strategy as everyone else, and it gets everyone a chance to come into the pits. So everyone will be on the same strategy, at least from here on out. Now, whether we get another caution, whether we get another chance to come in and take some fresh tires again towards the end, we'll see. But this is going to be the comp caution here for tonight, and going to reel everyone back in there. We had everybody but 4 drivers on the lead lap, as we had Foster Yates, Blair Saunders, and Douglas Ivey 1 lap down, and then Wade Enyart 3 laps down. But into the pits comes the entire field, as we'll see everybody come in there except for the likes of Blair Saunders, and even Douglas Ivey probably going to stay out here to get their lap back here via the wave around. And we should see Foster Yates, looks like Foster Yates coming into the pits, so I'm not sure if they're going to get the wave around here or the lucky dog or not. And it could even be a pit road penalty for coming in there because he was a lap down. But either way, entire field in the pits, and we'll see who comes out first, see if there's any kind of different strategies. I would think 4 tires of fuel is kind of what you want here. You still got 50 laps left in this race, and you're going to need all the rubber you can get.
Yeah, I believe they'll be able to make it through, the rest of the way. We won't see a stop. It's just going to be who can manage the tires the best. So we might see some pretty heavy racing here, Carl. Once they bunch it back up. I'm not a huge fan of comp cautions. I understand the idea behind them, but you work all that time and to have a lead disappear after because of a caution. But that keeps a lot of, like, I'd say more junior leagues or drivers, gives them the ability to get back up there, give them the chance. Maybe they had a few bad corners and they've learned over the past 50 laps something that makes them a little bit quicker. But right now it does look like I want to hit Blair Sanders, but the number 42 of Kevin Winker is out front. The 08 was out there. I'm not sure where he's at the moment. He's coming around.
Gonna have to probably go towards the back of the pack. And actually, it's like they are in front of the pace car right now, so this could jumble up the order here a little bit, as Saunders right now showing as your leader. So we may need to have him get an end of the line here. Maybe he's planning on coming into the pits, because right now he is technically about a lap ahead of everybody as it stands.
Yeah. I could go ahead and see. I'll show the tower here so you can see where everybody at. The gap is where everybody out, and you can see that right there. The Sounders are in the back of the line. He's the leader for Iracing. I don't get it. I don't know how that happened, because I think he was a lap down when the flag came out.
He was, and he stayed out to get the wave around, and most likely ended up passing the pace car maybe one too many times. Either way, he should be towards the back. But we'll try and get this thing cleared up here.
That's for the stewards to take care of. I'm glad I'm in the booth for that one.
Exactly.
Everybody get a black flag for passing the leader once they take, because the pace car's in.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get this thing back under green, and I guess just let the chips fall as they may. But right now, Saunders is showing as your leader by a substantial amount. As you see, he is a minute ahead of everybody as we're going to get the green flag. Obviously, he's not going to be a minute ahead of everybody once the time and scoring starts taking effect here, but he will be really the lap ahead of everybody right now. So technically your leader out front right now is the 42 of Kevin Winker, battling with the 6 now of Michael Casey taking the lead. And we will get a yellow. Not sure if this might be to clear up the situation here.
Yeah, that was from the stewards throwing a caution.
Yeah, so we'll go back under yellow here and get everything cleared up, and we'll see quite a few drivers going around the pace truck here. And I think Casey may still think that he is the leader, and he's behind the pace truck, where really all these drivers, except for Saunders, needs to go past the pace car right now and catch back up to the field.
It's like a dance here with Iracing, because you're like, should I go? Should I wait? Like, yeah, they need to go all the way around and catch up to the Saunders, I believe. Since they took the green flag, now he was registered as the leader. So.
Right, so that's why, yeah, everybody needs to go back around and catch him.
And they might even do that, and then once they catch up, they might even then throw, if he's supposed to be at the back of the pack, give him that end of line.
Agreed, yep. But either way, like you said, that's where we're in the booth. We wait for everybody else to make those calls for us. Well, we try and lend a helping hand here and there if we can, just to if we spot something kind of funky like that. But so sorry to all the Saunders fans if we outed him for any reason. But I see him right there. Yeah, waiting for everybody on the front stretch. And we'll get this thing sorted out here, as we still got plenty of racing yet to go. So we're going to have about 40 laps to go. As Casey not wasting any time getting around.
No, he's like, I'm going to get back.
Actually, no, that wasn't Casey. But yeah, either way.
Oh, it was Casey, all
And
right. He got back up
Oh
in
yeah,
the truck.
yeah, it is. It is. Never mind.
Yeah, the only way to fix this is what they did is obviously since they took the green, throw the caution, have them, go around, and then if let Sounders fall to the back and just kind of give them an EOL, not as a penalty, but just to kind of reorder the line. The only other way not to give them an EOL is just have them drive down through pit lane would be another option, which would also shift them to the back.
And these things happen, and sometimes it's driver error, not paying attention to what iRacing's telling you to do, and then sometimes it's flat out it's iRacing telling you to do something that doesn't make any kind of sense. I mean, it'll tell you to pass the pace car an extra time when you shouldn't have, and then that could be the case right here where Saunders passed the pace car one too many times, and all of a sudden now is, or at least was, leading this race for a brief moment, but now he's going to rightfully go to the back of the line here, and we'll get this thing under green. It looks like the pace truck lights are out here, so we will be doubled up. It's going to be Michael Casey at the front, Kevin Winker, Matthew Radford, Jason Crispin, and Matthew Jordan for your top 5. And you got Spengler, Garner, Helms, Worley, and Scotty for your top 10. Once again, thank the sponsors here for the series: One Vision, EMS and Transports, and Kim's Cups and more for their sponsorship here and all the help. And as I've said many times, the sponsors for any kind of series, whether it's for a series, for a league, for a broadcast, for anything like that, any little bit helps these leagues out, and it's a great benefit. So certainly thank you to the sponsors here for this series and all the sponsors out there that help out all the leagues. But we're about to get this thing back under green. It is still going to be 44 laps left to go. And Jimmy, I think now that we got everything straightened back out here, I think it's about time to crank these cars up and give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it. bit. Probably turn them down a little bit so they're not blowing out your ears. But definitely things going good here as Jason Crispin and Michael Casey battling it out here for that top spot. Right now it is the 98 with the small margin of the lead here. We have 23 laps to go. Then it's Kevin Winkler, Matthew Radford back there for P number 3, battling it out back there in P number 5, number 28 of Justin Spengler. Our in-race reporter there that we talked to a little bit earlier in number 5 was Zane Bierman sitting in 6th. Timothy Ivy's in 7th. Paul Helms in the 64, up 6 spots here tonight so far, sitting in P number 8. Dale Garner Jr. in 9th. Bradley Worley sitting in 10th. Scotty sitting in 11th, up 6 spots. Blair Saunders back in 12th. Matthew Jordan in 13th, up a couple spots. James Jones there in number 54 in 14th. Douglas Ivy is in 15th. And then Wade Enyart having a rough race here in number 21 back there in 16th place. And looks like Foster has retired for the evening. But battle continues as we have 21 laps to go currently. About to cross the line for 20 laps.
20 laps to go here. It looked like Jason Crispin maybe just holding back here a little bit, ran his way through this little pack, took the lead, and I thought maybe he was going to be able to hold off these guys and walk away a little bit, but Casey has other things in mind as he is again looking to go back-to-back after winning last week at Vegas. It doesn't look like any kind of fight right now, at least from the 88 of Bradley Worley back there in 10th place, winner at the season opener at Daytona. So Casey, the only one out there that has a chance to double up here this season, but everyone else out there looking to try and get their first win, including Jason Crispin, had the pole here tonight. Led this lap in a couple different stints. We've seen Kevin Winker in the 42 lead for quite some time. The 97 of Matthew Radford has been up there for most of the night as well. But can anyone get the best of the 6 here? It seems like anytime he loses the lead, he finds his way back up to the front. And he's doing it by using that middle to high line to get it done. But then as soon as he gets to the front, right back down to the bottom to defend. So we'll see how this thing plays out. 18 laps left in this race. Casey, Crispin, Winker, Radford, and Spengler for your top 5.
Some drivers shifting around a little bit, looking like a 15 tried to get around the 5 there, but had to check up as the 5 had the outside run. It would be checked up a little bit too much as the 31 looks down underneath. Dale Garner Jr. looking to take the 7th spot from Timothy Ivy. As Timothy Ivy started up towards the front of this race as well. I see Timothy Ivy and Douglas Ivy, and know it's a father-son duo out there, and I did see them running together again another week where they were some of the faster drivers out on the track. So just trying to get their practice like success, their speed, and that they can put out there. So we know they're fast. It's at this can those 2 drivers manage their tires and stay out of the not getting involved in incidents. I think has been some of the problems for those 2 drivers as well, but doing pretty well here. 15 of Timothy Ivy trying to work his way back up towards the front, but right now it is Jason Crispin leading the way in 98 now over Mike Casey. So there's a battle back and forth between these 2, and we got 16 laps to go. I'm sure we'll see a lot more cover. But goes back here for P number 3 as the 97 of Matthew Radford trying to show some speed here over the 42 of Kevin Winker, as we've seen Winker out front during this race as well.
And Winker just trying to hold on to 3rd. It seems like those tires may be going away a little bit on the 42. The 97 gets a run through the middle of the corner. Just cannot complete the pass, though. Up at the front, Jason Crispin's got his hands full once again as Michael Casey again fighting back here side by side. Crispin has what seems to be the upper hand, that upper lane seems to be the spot where you want to be in to defend and sometimes even make the passes. Casey now goes to the high side of 1 and 2, trying to get the run here once again down the backstretch as we're down to 15 laps to go here tonight. And it is still plenty close at the front of the field for first and second, for third and fourth. Actually, sorry, 14 laps to go. But even back through the field as well, back all the way back in 13th and 14th position, we got close battles even back there with James Jones and Matthew Jordan. But certainly keeping our eyes at the front of the field, as well as Chrisman leads the way by only a tenth of a second over Michael Casey, as they got about a 2.3 second gap between them and the rest of the field. Third place, Kevin Winker still holding off the 97 of Matthew Radford. We'll see if anyone gets a better hand. It seems like, again, the car's in the lead of the battles, taking to that high side and seems to be defending quite well up there. As you see now, the 31 getting a run here on the 5, and maybe see the inside line finally prevailing here. I almost feel like you almost got to pull a bit of an asphalt slider and try and really dive into that corner and slide your way up to take the speed away from that high line. But again, you see the 5 just gets a heck of a run down the backstretch.
Yeah, it's that outside line. That's why a lot of drivers tend to run it as long as you don't have anybody pushing you to the wall. You're not relying on being able to kind of drift that car up from that inside to the outside to get that run. You just a little bit slower going in, you get that car rotate, and then once you get on it, you just go. And if that inside car can't make that inside work in order to slide up to slow you down, you're going to end up going by. So the 5 making things work here. You see the 15 of Timothy Ivy up on the outside with him as well. Got the 85 Oreo machine out there. So Douglas Ivy trying to, join the fun here as it's coming down. He's a few laps down here. As I'll go ahead and post that up there so you can see wherever he stands. As Douglas Ivy is 2 laps down from the field, but kind of mixing it up there. 15 coming down in front of the 64, making things a little tight, maybe uncomfortable, but trying to maybe push that 31 out in front of the 5. But can the 5 hold off a group or a pack down on the inside? It looks like the 31 might get it cleared. Oh, and as the 5 tags the wall, that will be enough to allow 31 to clear him. So 31 of Dale Garner Jr. move him to P number 6. Ooh, and a 5
well, we got a battle again once again for the lead, as Casey now retakes the lead at the front, as him and Chrisman were going to work on each other for a few laps there. But we're getting towards the end of this thing, as we are going to be crossing the line now and seeing it to be 8 laps to go here at Charlotte. Who is going to get this thing done? Is it going to be the 6 going back to back? Is it going to be the 98 getting his first win? Can Winker or Radford find some late race speed here to reel them in and make a battle of it? It's a 3-second gap in between second place and third right now, and you see right there once again Chrisman trying to reel in that 6, and you wonder who's showing their speed, who's kind of holding back a little bit, or are these guys both just going at it lap after lap here, which seems to be the case here, as back to the line, tenth of a second is all that separates first and second, Casey and Chrisman. Winker, Radford, and Spengler for your top 5. Garner, Bierman, Helms, Jones, and Saunders for your top 10. But we'll keep our eyes right here on the battle at the front, as you see Casey trying everything he can, including trying to break that draft down the backstretch.
He's doing everything he can to try to break that momentum of the 98 from overtaking them. So, but Chrisman trying, and 6 laps to go, and this track, obviously there's a lot of track to cover and multiple lanes that will work here. But seems that high side kind of came into its own here later towards the end of the race. We only have 6 laps remaining, the 98's gonna have to use that draft. He's gonna have to make the move. He's gonna kind of set him up, kind of get Mike to maybe make a mistake, make things a little bit easier for the 98 to pull off the win here, as starting from the lead or from the pole and sitting there in P number 2 is not a bad start and finish, but would definitely like to grab the win here tonight, I'm sure. 5 laps to go here at Charlotte. Michael Casey out front over Jason Chrisman. Kevin Winker in second, barely over Matthew Radford, trying to make the move there, trying to get on that final podium spot, come up here and talk to us. Then Justin Spengler sitting there in P number 5 with Dale Garner Jr. in 6. Zane Bierman has made his way back up to P number 7. Paul Helms in the 64 machine in 8th. James Jones in 9th. Blair Saunders in 10th.
Coming down to the end of it here as Michael Casey still holding off Jason Chrisman for this lead. And the time is winding down. Does Chrisman have anything to get up there and make a move on the 6 as 85 starting to get in the mix here as well? Doesn't want to get involved, but he's got fresh tires and trying to figure out what to do with them right now as Casey crosses the line, and we are down to 3 laps to go here at Charlotte. Race number 3 here for the 191 Motorsports Gen 6 series, and it looks to be a pretty close one again, just like we had last week at Vegas. And Casey trying to hold off all comers here once again. Back to the line. It's going to be 2 laps to go. The 98 closing in here once again, as at the line it is 15 hundredths of a second separating the two. 2 laps to go. 3 miles is all that they need to get this thing done. That's all Casey needs to lead yet, and really just needs to lead that last 1/10 of a mile to get this thing done. But he's trying to hold off the 98. This time by, it's going to be the white flag in the air as Casey still leads. Looking back here at Bierman trying to hold off the 64 of Helms back here in 7th and 8th. At the front, you wonder if Chrisman can get close enough to use that chrome bumper as they head off into turn number 1. And Chrisman trying to get close enough here on to the backstretch they go. A good run off the corner. Does the 98 have anything to say? Dives down to the inside, gets into the back bumper, trying to get the 6 loose, but that thing is glued to the track. Chrisman's going to chase it up, and it's not going to be enough. He tried to use the bumper, but Casey is going to hold off Chrisman here. Used the bumper a couple times, but did not get loose. Battle back to the line. Winker is just barely going to hold off Radford, as I'm showing Radford as 3rd place, but it looked pretty clear there that Winker did get 3rd. Heck of a battle back to the line. But Casey going to come away with back-to-back wins here at Charlotte.
Yeah, great finish by a lot of drivers. I wish I could show you everything that was going on, because there's a lot of close ones here. But we'll go ahead and give a rundown of where your favorite drivers may have finished here tonight before we get everybody up in here, as we're waiting for the results to kind of publish. Let's see. I just want to double check them as well, because Carl said he thought he'd seen Winker in 3rd. See. And I'm having, we'll go here. Nope, it has him in 3rd. So, Kevin Wade, bringing that down. So it is official here for the results, the finishing results here at Charlotte for after 125 laps. Mike Casey will walk away the winner here tonight over Jason Chrisman. Then Kevin Winker in 3rd. Matthew Radford with a very close P number 4. Dale Garner Jr. in 5th. Justin Spengler in 6th. Paul Helms in 7th. James Jones in 8th. Zane Bierman in 9th. Blair Saunders in 10th. Matthew Jordan in 11th. Scotty finished in 12th. Timothy Ivey in 13th. Bradley Worley in 14th. Douglas Ivey in 15th. Wade Inyard there in 16th. And Foster Yates finishing out your 17-car field here for tonight at Charlotte.
Our top 3 here in the booth here in a second. I want to thank our sponsors here once again, Kim's Cups and More, for the sponsorship, as well as One Vision EMS and Transports. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in as well. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, but let's go ahead and jump right into our interviews. And we'll start with our 3rd place finisher here tonight. And regardless of what SDK is telling me, I know what my eyes are telling me, and I know what Iracing as well. And that is that the 3rd place finisher here tonight is going to be the 42 of Kevin Winker. And Kevin, heck of a battle all the way to the end. I know you wish you was, I'm sure, battling for that top spot here tonight, but you had one heck of a job trying to hold off that 97 here tonight and get that 3rd place finish.
Yeah, man, it was a hard fought, 3rd place. I don't know, it was weird because on that first long green flag run, I got clear. And me and Mike were battling, and my car felt fine and everything. And then we had that comp caution and erased the lead we had, and then I pitted for tires, and something about those tires, or I don't know, but my car just felt like a rock after I got past by them. I actually got the warning for the right front was wearing down there on that second run, so I'm not sure if more rubber got in the track or not, but I mean, my car just wasn't handling like I wanted to that second run, and ultimately I think that's why I ended up losing this race. But yeah, but battle back to third. It was a good battle there with the 97. I was pitching him pretty good, and he got me in the wall there, and he kind of gave it back to me. I kind of feel bad for that, but it was just hard racing. He didn't wreck me in person, nothing. So, but yeah, overall it was a great race. A lot of hard battles up there up front. I'm sure the broadcasts, look amazing watching all that. I mean, we were pinching guys left and right, and it was kind of weird. You had to run kind of the high side in 1 and 2, at least what I found, and then you would kind of have to run 3 and 4 down low. So it was so hard to set up the pass once the tires were out here. So I'm sure you've seen that. But overall, another podium. I got a podium at Daytona. Missed Vegas, so can't be too upset with 2 podiums in the season already.
No, absolutely not. It's been a good start to the season. Do you feel like I know we talked about it mid-race when you were leading, how nice it is to have that clean air. You can't draft behind somebody and save fuel, but you don't have to worry about the air kind of affecting your car. Do you think maybe that could be a leading cause of why the car handled a little bit differently in the second half?
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Or otherwise, I just shoot them up more, trying to stay in front there. I know it was less lap count of a run, and I don't know if I just pushed a little bit harder to try to stay ahead of those guys because I knew how much clean air meant. But I'll have to go back and look at that. But either way, I mean, I would like to win, obviously, but you can't really be upset with a P3, honestly, after, 20 guys in the race. So I'll take that any night. So we'll go on to next week. I don't know where we are, but we'll go on next week and see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was, once again, a good run, and we'll see if you can do it again. Dover next week. So certainly a little bit different track than you guys have experienced so far this season. A little bit tighter quarters, a lot more banking, and a little bit of concrete to deal with. Yeah,
talk about tire saving. That track's going to chew them babies up. So I think next week's going to be pretty interesting with the tire strategy and all that. I know it gets real tight off of 2 and 4. So next week should be another good one. Those Dover and Nashville always put on a great race with the concrete surface. I don't know if it's something with the concrete or not, but those races always seem to turn out good. So I'm looking forward to next week.
We'll see if you can get another podium next week as well. But before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, as always, going to shout out to Bruce Milberger. Milberger Custom Homes come on board and sponsor me in all my leagues, and he's watching tonight. So shout out to you, Bruce. We're got our back up on the podium. Been doing that the last couple nights here, so happy to do that. All Lincoln Nation, Sean, Amanda, Brandon, Justin, Brett, Nicole, Dylan, Gordon, all them guys that come out and support me every night. I can't thank them enough for watching and tuning in. Nate Cogdale at a Sonic Rep Design for the paint. If you need any paints or design stickers, any of that stuff, you can check them out on Facebook at Sonic Graphic Design. All the league admins that put this on. I know it's a lot of hard work, to keep everybody corralled and stuff, but props to them and all the drivers in here. There's a lot of respect in this league. Some leagues there's a lot of guys that don't really have respect, and it's hard to find a league that has guys that know how to race clean, but hard at the same time, so props to everybody for keeping it pretty clean. I know we had a couple cautions, but that's to be expected at any track. So props to everybody in the league for putting on a good race, and last but not least, you for their broadcast, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. We put on a good race and plenty of time to see that 42 up there towards the front. So congrats again on the podium. Let's go celebrate, and we'll see you maybe next week at Dover.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Third place finisher here tonight, the 42 of Kevin Winker. Second place here tonight, only Justin did everything he could. Jimmy even used the chrome bumper, but just not enough for the second place finisher of the 98 of Jason Chrisman.
Hey, Jason, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth to copy.
I got you.
Hey, well, first, welcome to the booth. Definitely an interesting night for the 98, up to the front and the back, in the middle, and back up front again here towards the end of the race with one heck of a battle there with the 6. Just not quite enough ran out of time to get around, but give us a little rundown on how your race went for that number 98 here tonight.
Well, fired off pretty good. Practice P1, qualifying P1. I felt really good for the race. Really confident. That Interstate Batteries car was bad fast. I don't know if you guys saw me working through the field. It felt great. It felt like I was in a Cars movie. I gave Mike Casey all I had there at the end. We separated from the 2 behind us. and it was a fun race. I didn't care who won, who lost at the end there. It was just a pleasure to be there at the end of that race.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you guys were having fun here, going back and forth, and trading spots, and we just really down to the wire. Like, is he holding back just a little bit, save a little bit of tire? Is he, what's the plan? What's the game plan here? And it's definitely an interesting watch. As you're trying to give everybody a little bit, because there's battles all over the place here tonight. So great racing by everybody, but you're trying to focus here especially as the end was coming near. But great race, a great finish there for the 98. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I think you did a great job. And from CRN and everybody else out there, we want to say congratulations and also give you some time for any shouts out number 98.
All right, thank you very much, guys. It was an honor.
Give you a little time. You got any shouts you want to give before we let you go?
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I thought you were picking me out for Mike.
Oh no.
You earned it.
Put me to the side. But yeah, nothing really much. I don't really have many people to watch these races. I just kind of do it in my free time. But I just want to say it's been great so far this year. I know I've had a few blunders. It also saw me wreck myself twice at Daytona, and then last race, that 3-wide there at the end. I'm just happy to finish one now, and it just feels good to get some good momentum going forward. I always feel like I have a fast car week in, week out. Just put myself there at the end is going to be my main goal from here on.
Well, if anything, you can at least go back and check us out there on YouTube, because the video is going to be there for about ever. So either way, you did a great job here tonight. Congratulations. And hopefully we'll get some fans out there rooting for that number 98, as you definitely showed some speed here tonight. So again, congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you guys very much again.
Second place finisher here tonight, the 98 of Jason Chrisman. Winner here tonight, same guy as 2 weeks ago when we were at Vegas, and it is going to be the 6 of Michael Casey. Michael, not exactly easy winning these races out here, but man, I tell you, I got to wonder, did you only have 2 tires on the back of that car? Was it 4? Was it 6? Because even with a couple shots there from Chrisman at the end, that car did not budge, and you kept that thing tight to the bottom.
Yeah, definitely another wild race, but no, I had 4 tires on it. There ain't no way I was taking 2 on that last run, so we had 4 tires on it, and I had just enough to kind of hold him off at the end there, but it could have been anybody's race there at the end.
I was just wondering if he had 4 tires on the back, let alone all 4 tires on there, because that thing was planted. We seen him get a little bit close and figured the chrome bumper was going to come out there in the final corner. But even before that, I mean, you were up there battling with Winker for quite some time, trying to get the lead away from him. It seemed like he kind of settled in the first half of the race. Was that kind of by design, just kind of hanging back there and drafting a little bit and making sure you made it to the comp caution?
Yeah, that's definitely what I was kind of going for. I was trying to just keep enough pressure on him just so he knew I was there. But yeah, once we got kind of lined out there, I was definitely just kind of riding around and just hanging out, trying to just get it to that caution so that we could come out and take tires. And then after that was when it was time to get the elbows up, because definitely being out there in the cleaner air, it did make quite a bit of a difference on pushing the nose and being able to wrap the line at the bottom, which is kind of what I was doing. I was definitely mixing it up on the top and the bottom, but my car really was hooking up good on that blue line, and that's where I was trying to send it all night. So
yeah, it seemed like that middle line was kind of the defending line for sure. It seemed as soon as you weren't defending, it seemed like you went right back down to the bottom. But anytime you had to defend, and even sometimes when you had to make a pass, you had to kind of go to that high side to get the run and get a really good shot down the backstretch.
Yeah, that top line, if you had good tires and you were in clear air, if nobody kind of took the draft off of you, you could go up on that top line, and the amount of momentum you carried off of that turn, coming off of turn 2 was I mean, had to have been 3 or 4 miles per hour quicker than that bottom lane, so you could really make some hay up on that top line and roll it, so it was fun.
Well, listen, 3 for 3 we're talking. He has you got 3 podiums in a row here, but more importantly, back-to-back wins now from Vegas and now Charlotte. Dover next week is going to be a little bit different. What do you feel about Dover? Do you think you have a chance to go for the three-peat?
Yeah, we don't mind the concrete over here, man. I love Dover. We've had Dover on the schedule in just about every season we've done. So not just me, but all the other drivers in the league here have a lot of experience at Dover. So I'm excited for Dover. It's one of my favorite ones that we go to. 1 mile, concrete tire chewing track. So I'm excited. Nothing but momentum going forward from here, and excited to see if we can go get another championship this season.
All right, buddy. Well, it's certainly starting off like a championship type of run, 3 for 3 on podiums, 2 out of 3 of them being wins. So congrats again on another win here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, definitely shout out to you guys in the broadcast booth doing a great job. Shout out to everybody on YouTube land watching and supporting everything with what we got going on. Good run tonight for Kevin and Jason on their podium finishes. And then I want to thank One Vision EMS Transport and Kim's Cups for supplying the trophy systems at the end. And shout out to all the guys in the 191 Motorsports League that came out and raced and showed up. We had a really good showing tonight. And hopefully we can just keep this momentum going for the rest of the season. So appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys putting on a great race out there for us as well. So we'll let you go celebrate, see if you can go 3 in a row next week at Dover.
All right. Sounds good, guys. We appreciate you all.
That is your winner here tonight, the 6 of Mike Casey getting it done here again, and they're going to be extending his points lead as well. Thank you once again to the series sponsors, as mentioned before, Kim's Cups and more, and One Vision EMS and Transports, and especially thank you to the fans out there. You guys certainly, we'd love to see the chat blowing up like it does, and it definitely gives us something to kind of relate to you guys. Show your favorite drivers out there. Let you know how everything's going, and it shows these drivers support as well, and they really appreciate it. So thank you once again for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that Sierra has to offer, both for myself and Jimmy here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the track.
Peace.